Michelangelo once said that every block of stone has a statue inside it, and that the task of the artist was to discover it. Like Michelangelo, Bob Richardson is one such artist. He currently works as an art teacher at the Arts High School in Newark, New Jersey. His interest in art began when he was a child. It started with his father in his basement woodshop. As Bob Richardson grew older, he knew he was destined for art school. Once making it to art school, he was inspired by his fellow classmates to be the best. Bob Richardson specializes in three-dimensional sculptures. His abstract sculptures are made by using found objects. His brilliant mind realizes the potential of things people rarely consider. He knows how to turn one man's trash into another man's treasure. Let's explore Bob Richardson's art and the passion behind it.
Hello, and welcome back to Garden State of the Arts. I'm your host, Cece Bernstein, and with me today we have Bob Richardson. How are you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing quite well, thank you.
Thank you for being with us on the show.
My pleasure.
So, Bob, what inspired you to become an artist?
Well, I've been doing art for, over 60 years now, before kindergarten. My parents always encouraged me. It was something, through elementary school, high school, college. I was always told I was good at it. I always loved doing it. So it just seemed like a clear and obvious path for me to take to be an artist.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you get to do what you love, and you went to school for art, right?
Correct. After I graduated from high school, I went to Pratt Institute as a sculpture major.
Oh, that's really cool. So beyond going to school, how did you develop your skills?
Well, presently, I am a teacher, and I think about some of the things that I tell my students to develop their skills, just constantly working at their craft. So I take that very seriously. Even when I'm finished with my day of teaching or whatever I might be doing, I often will go back to my studio and spend, many hours working at my art. And that definitely has made me a better artist, just sticking with it.
So aside from teaching, as you mentioned, how has art helped the other aspects of your life?
Well, socially, it's very important because as artists, we tend to go to friends' openings. I have my art often in other exhibits, so socially, my art is quite large, so I like the physical aspect of being able to work with power tools and going up and down on ladders. So, just in terms of me feeling healthy, I think it's important for me to do this large art.
With your sculptures, I know you used objects or
Correct.
found objects.
Correct.
So why?
Well, I also had worked at the Museum of Natural History, and for throughout my whole life, I always loved picking up things that seemed beautiful, whether it was for texture, color, and I would just collect all these objects, and at some point I would put them together. I might have some kind of a social issue in my head and try to figure out how these objects might come together to get that message across in my artwork.
Would you say that it's the objects that inspire you for your work?
I would say most times yes, but not always. Sometimes I'll have an issue and then I'll try to find objects that fit in with that issue, but most times it's finding the objects and then letting those objects speak to me and see where they lead me.
Well, we have some footage of some of your art, so maybe you would want to tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, let's take a look at what we have. All right, so this piece was called Fallen Angel. It initially started with that large piece of wood, that's the torso and the legs. And I just loved the texture that was on that piece of wood. It actually came from Vermont, so I actually toted it from Vermont back to New Jersey to my studio. Then I started assembling things on it. It has my granddaughter's shoes up above. There's actually a couple of smaller angels around the halo by the head, the lower part. There's a good angel at the upper left-hand corner, and the lower left-hand corner there's kind of an evil angel kind of persuading the bigger figure what to do.
So what inspired you to create this particular piece?
Well, like I said, initially it was that piece of wood, and I knew at some point I would incorporate that into a piece of art. So then it's just kind of getting all my found objects. They're all over the floor, and I start arranging them and just seeing what fits and really what speaks to me.
Do you often use parts of your family in your art?
Often, you know, family members are giving me things that they feel I might like. I have, you know, and more often than that, I have friends that are giving me pieces, and a lot of times it's something that they might have had in their life for a while. They don't know what to do with it anymore, so they give it to me, and often it ends up in one of my sculptures.
That's wonderful. I think it's really good that you incorporate your family and what you love. I think we have another footage of another piece of work.
All right, so this piece had to deal with, you know, being a prisoner of fashion. If you could see, the metal cage on the outside is actually made of hangers. The whole torso and the body is made up of clothing, and there is a head at the top. So it's a caged figure in a cage of hangers.
So was this one of the pieces that you had a topic in your head that you wanted to create a piece around?
Well, I had gone to a thrift store, and I think at this point they were saying you could fill up a garbage bag for $5. So I just filled up the bag with all the clothing. There might have been some little pocketbooks in there, maybe some jewelry, and then I just started assembling it, you know, to make this figure. And like I say, the cage was just made of hangers, you know, coming together. So.
I think that's a really cool piece.
Thank you.
It speaks to, like you said, an issue or something that you had in your head that you wanted to express. So with all your pieces, is there like a connecting theme between them?
Well, I certainly would say a connecting theme or materials that I use would be that each piece has a piece that's valuable to me because it's been given to me by a friend, by a family member. You know, if I think back to a lot of the pieces that I have in my studio, a lot of them are angels. A lot of them are winged figures, and somehow that gives me some kind of inspiration in my studio, just having all those angels there. So angels and abstract figures are often a repeating theme in my work.
Are angels is there anything special about angels to you particularly?
Well, physically, I like the way they look with the wings. You know, and there is some kind of symbolic meaning, even though I'm not very religious, but I like the idea that maybe there's somebody watching me and directing me and helping me out at times, so yes.
I think it's wonderful that you incorporate so much of yourself into your artwork. You make beautiful work, and thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about it. And thank you for watching Garden State of the Arts. I'll see you next week.